Alright, draft physics video. Try to keep this one down to like a half an hour, but it's the same old routine, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Just I have things I gotta do. And, but whatever. See how it goes. Piro comments, like 20 of them on one video. You know, he just has such a preposterous ego. Oh, yes, it's just so vital. You know, everybody get the little Piro quips. And that's all they are, it's quips. They're not worth anything. It's garbage. So he says, if you read History of Science, like he knows the history of science. He didn't know when Huygens was born. I actually have that information now. Yeah, Huygens actually lived inside of Newton's life. Yeah. Newton lived a long time. 80 or something. Anyway. But anyway. If you read the history of science, you would see people did think and dream about doing things the way you want. Again, this is just so silly. This isn't about wanting. It's about the idea that you have a theory of reality that is obviously got three bears in it. It's got Goldilocks in it. It's got lots of woo. It's a religious theory of origins and being. It's not a physics theory. It's full of made-up magical things, you know, that do all the work. It's just really girly science. So it's wanting something other than girly science. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the, not girly boy science. Well, whatever. No insult to women intended. I mean, it's certainly there, but it wasn't intended. Yeah, see, people did think and dream about doing things the way you want. So again, it's the way I want. No, I realized that the theory of the two-slit woo-woo nonsense was silly, and I went looking for a better answer. And what I found was a better answer for gravity. And then I found magnetism. And then I found time dilation and momentum. This has nothing to do with want, idiot. Fucking creep. Yeah, fuck you. Everything you say is about what Piro wants. Piro wants to sell his science history books. And you wouldn't be so deluded about your role in this. Well, again, the deluded's going to be written on your fucking grave, fuckhead. I have no fucking doubt who's right and wrong in this argument, because your arguments are obviously stupid. Gravity does this! And, you know, we already saw your faked single-slit evidence. So, yeah, fuck you. I won't delete that one since James responded to it. So, whatever. There's no point in responding to Piro comments. Anyway, I'm only doing it because he's lying about me. I just want to point out what a liar he is. Alright, the misrepresentation is consistent. So, we won't hear what it is, though. Your description of the black hole collision was pure misrepresentation. How so? You claim LIGO scientists claim things they didn't claim. What did I say? Please quote where I misrepresented what they said the truth was, fuckhead. Again, I'm right, you're fucking wrong. No doubt about it. I could play them describing it, for fuck's sake. I didn't describe it any different. Two black holes moving half the speed of light went into a spiral and then collided. How did I misrepresent the truth, fucking creep? You lying piece of shit. Anyway, I just can't. How does he get away with this? Why do you people? I mean, I can see. Okay, I can see that some of you, you just don't like me or something like that. But why would you endorse such a fucking blatant lie? It makes you all look bad. Claim things it didn't claim. Okay, that's just a lie. That the black holes didn't affect the world around them. I can quote you her saying it. The fucking queen of the fucking whole enterprise. I can quote her. I can show you the videotape of her fucking saying that. It was one of the things she said, idiot. You want me to play the fucking tape? You're the one that's ignorant of the history here. She says the words. Yes, the collision doesn't affect the planets around it in any significant way. I mean, the matter around it in any significant way. That's why they didn't make it regular radiation. That's why they made it bent space radiation. Whatever that is. I mean, shit. I mean, again, provably wrong. You're wrong. I'd bet $1 million fucking dollars that you're wrong. How about that? Will you take the bet? $1 million fucking dollars. You're fucking wrong. She says the exact thing I said. All right. That they are not obeying gravity. The black hole didn't affect the world around them. That they are not obeying gravity. Obeying gravity in what sense? You don't even understand what gravity is. You think it's something matter doesn't make, but it's something you can convert matter into. That there would be no way to see the sudden change in gravitational force even according to their model. It's not about a sudden change in gravitational force, idiot. It's about converting two solar masses into pure energy. And what that implies. They didn't convert the matter into cupcakes. They didn't convert it into silly, stupid, retarded holiday brain. Well, they converted it into energy, idiot. Fuck. And they weren't converting when they were just spinning. So again, the argument is, how do you detect the very weak signal of them just spinning? And then when two solar masses of energy are released in less than a second, that signal is only twice as high. That doesn't make any logical sense. Fucker. Yeah, what a piece of fucking shitty work this creep is. That there would be no way to see the sudden change in gravitational force even according to their model. Well, again, the point is they're making some excuse why the space wasn't evacuated around this thing, this event, when it happened. And the excuse is empty. All false. Well, I'll bet you $1 million are not false, fucker. You claim that an inertial frame is an Oz where you don't have to follow rules, when in fact it is the rule. No, yes, so isn't that convenient? Oz is reality. No, it really isn't. And again, you're the one who doesn't seem to understand the implications of your own fucking theory, because you don't even understand that time dilation has an implication, which means you're not perceiving all the events that take place. Your dilation means essentially you're asleep most of the time, and the frame rate's been sped up. And so thousands of years pass before you see what you think happened. But it didn't happen. All that happened was your perception turned to shit. You don't even understand your own fucking bullshit religion, idiot. Now he says it starts a sentence with "or this." I just love no time code, no, not even a hope of understanding probably what the fuck he's talking about. Or this: two objects in space are more likely to have near misses. And yes, period, no comma, okay, and fly past each other, but if they are pulling a lot of mass with them, the same mass that was accelerated towards the other mass, again, it's a conservative force, retard. If you throw an elephant at the earth and it misses the earth, it's going to have extra force, extra elephant mass to escape with. The same amount of they'll gain just as much. The more you weigh, the more you take with you in terms of force. But you don't understand. It's one of the most basic rules of physics are these conservative forces, and you don't understand how they work. A lot of mass with them. They are there are the collisions. Collisions with what? That's the point. They didn't describe any collisions. The collisions cause a nuclear explosion of immense proportion as some of the mass transforms into light. So what the fuck are you talking about? Where did they say that? Where did they describe anywhere in this bullshit that the two black holes came near each other, but there was a third black hole, and the third black hole crashed into black hole number 2 and slowed it down, and so then black hole number 1 could spiral around because it was black hole number 3 and number 2 were one big mass, and then it could... Where did they do any of that, shithead? That wasn't their explanation, shithead. So lie some more about what they actually said. Go ahead, imply they said this collision thing happened before the two objects hit each other. Go ahead and imply that happened when it isn't in any diagram or in any statement made by anybody at LIGO. So go ahead and lie about what they said. You fucking liar. Alright. Just one lie after another. Let's see. You are getting into mixed up. Well, that's a brilliant one. You are getting your, info mixed up. Sorry, I can't, my eye's not too good. The idea of detecting rapidly rotating binary black holes is kind of think LIGO. What? What is this shit? Detecting rapidly rotating binary black holes, like their rotation would matter somehow? It'd have to be two. Yeah, well, he said binary. So the very idea, first they haven't even demonstrated that a black hole exists, and then they're going to tell us that they're all binary, that they're just sitting there going around each other in perpetual orbits. Sure they are. Let's see, black holes is kind of think LIGO is looking for. Is kind of think thing, I guess, LIGO is looking for. That wasn't what they described. So you can keep saying this shit, and it just doesn't have anything to do with what they said was happening. So go ahead, okay, let's just pretend. But what it found instead was, okay, let's see, so he's quoting somebody. Physicists have concluded that the detected gravitational waves were produced during the final fraction of a second of the merger of two black holes to produce a S. That's where he cut off. Yeah, well, we're still arguing about how the two black holes got connected to each other. That's the problem. The problem is a description of that event. In other words, from the change in gravity from the collision turning into mass of pure energy. In other words, from the change in gravity. So again, it's some kind of weirdness that you have this change in your gravity when you convert your mass into gravity. Oh yeah, that's just brilliant. So, and he puts in capital letters misrepresentation. I can do that too. I mean, you know, we'll go. So he has a LIGO news. So he didn't go regular to the regular press release. But anyway, and is this the first event or the second event? Which one? But again, why don't you describe to me how two black holes end up rotating around each other at half the speed of light? Why don't you explain that one? Give me the physics for it. Alright, misrepresentation. I said turning mass into energy would slow a sudden drop in gravity, would show a sudden drop in gravity. And that drop would be insignificant. The drop in gravity would be no worse than our sun just turning off. You know, in terms of its light it's producing. Just blinking. That doesn't mean anything. That's not super energy. There's no super energy in the gravitational force of even 60 solar masses. At the Earth's location, as close as it is to the Sun, the gravity is 0.01 meters per second. It's incredibly weak. And that's really close. That's not 5 light years away. How do you detect the gravity turning off from 5 light years away? I mean, bullshit. Alright, let's see, where was this other one? I'll leave that one because that's the one with the article link, which he obviously quote mined. I said turning mass into energy shows a drop in gravity. Not that the mass turned into gravity. Well, that's what they said, you fucking idiot. What do you think the mass turned into? They said it wasn't regular radiation. So it wasn't radiation. It wasn't any electromagnetic radiation. It wasn't any kind of physical radiation that we know of. It was gravity. It was two solar masses were converted into bent space. Let's see, not that the mass turned into gravity. Well, what are you saying it turned into? Again, they say it didn't turn into any other form of radiation. So what was it then? It's causing gravity. How does it cause gravity? We know that it causes gravity when it's matter. When it's not matter, it doesn't cause gravity. it can cause force, but it can't cause attraction. Is that what you're saying? That when you convert matter into the force of gravity, you create mega attraction? Not that it really matters, but both of them are preposterous. If it created mega attraction, it would have pulled everything in the nearby area into itself. While in mass form, when it turned into photons, that stops. So he says it turned into photons. They don't say that happened at all. They say it turned into gravitons. So you're the one misrepresenting the evidence and the argument. They never said it turned into photons. It causes gravity while in mass form. When turned into photons, that stops. That's not what it was turned into. So that's just a pile of shit. Wrong answer, wrong history. Got the history wrong again. Misrepresentation. Don't bother anything around them. Didn't bother anything around them. Yeah, it didn't blind people on Earth. I was using light as an analogy. Obviously, it wouldn't blind people. Big pile of gravitons coming wouldn't blind you. It would just knock you the fuck over. Yeah, it didn't blind people on Earth because it was over 1 billion light years away. Well, I wasn't talking of bothered anything around them. They were 5 light years away, you idiot. So, you know, 5 billion light years away. Sorry. No one said everything was calm in the system. They said the opposite. No, they didn't. Again, I'll play her saying it, so that's fine. You want me to just play the videotape? I mean, I don't know if I can find the exact tape, but the press conference, that's what she said. It was enough radiation to kill everything huge distances away. You misrepresent. So where's your why don't you quote now the magazine article where it says anything about how all kinds of planets and solar systems were annihilated by the event? Oh, that's right, because I didn't say that. But I can't document them all because I don't want to pause every 10 seconds anymore. Well, the very idea that you play this stupid comment and pause game is just so fucking rude. And the fact that you can't figure out how rude that is to do on somebody's video is just really funny. Ugh, pathetic creep. Alright, you pause the video and defend insulting me. I don't know what the fuck that means, but yes, I certainly will insult you because you are deserving of every insult that could be thrown at you, you despicable creep. What I had just said was you insulted the scientists of the last few centuries. And again, you said I did it in some sort of gratuitous manner, which I didn't. I only insult them to the extent necessary to demonstrate my point. I mean, if they were insipidly, you know, stupid, versus just making dumb mistakes and being arrogant pricks. But what other insults have I heaped on anybody besides saying I disagree? What insult did I heap on Einstein besides saying a really neat gimmick, really clever, but wrong? What worse insult did I throw at him? Alright, different things. You probably are confused. Fuck you. Since you misrepresent through wanton negligence. Well, clearly that's exactly what you do. You think you understand history now. You think you know it all, and you are an ignorant fuck. You don't count that, but the universe counts that as misrepresentation. Again, you're going to be on the ash sheet, fucker. And the more you say shit like this, the deeper I'm going to make sure they place you. You know. Maybe just listen better. Now, maybe you should fuck yourself in the head until dead. And when I say you insult scientists, you should not be pretending I was talking about you insulting me. I didn't never pretend about you insulting me. And where did I say that? I defended myself against your insipid and insane accusation that I have done some kind of Ken Wheeler thing, that I somehow just gratuitously pick on poor little scientists. And I don't. It's just a bogus, silly argument. You're just so in love with Richard Feynman. I mean, you did blowjobs on him or whatever you did when you lived in California. and you're just so in love with them that you every time you hear somebody say anything like, oh man, Richard Feynman wore a pink shirt and it looks silly. Anytime you hear anybody say anything derogatory about him, you start crying. You fucking lunatic. Okay. Let's see, I don't know what James said, but let's see. What is wrong with you people? The fact that Gary has a unique hypothesis does not mean that he is trying to insult anybody. Yes, really. I mean, the number of insults to past scientists has been minor. I haven't even insulted Huygens, and I can't stand everything he thought up as crap. But I did say he made great clocks. I did say that. You never said you were just asking what if. That asking if is evidently verboten. I don't even know what this means. Really, you never said that, liar? I never said what? That the purpose of my Draft Science channel was to ask what if? That wasn't what the purpose of it was. The purpose of it was to propose a better theory. Clearly. Fucking, what an idiot. Alright, two black holes are claimed to have crashed into each other and joined. And yeah, losing two suns in the process. You're not even trying to understand the claims. Well, I'm sorry, I've described the claims, and the claims are ridiculous. Somehow they can see this. Two little black holes are going around each other, and they can see that signal. And then two solar masses are released in less than a half a second, and that signal's only this high. Yeah. I can do that much 2 plus 2 and say that don't add up. That sounds like bullshit. Alright, another one. The hypocrisy is that you criticize Theora for things you do. Bullshit. Again, where do I do, where did I say Richard Feynman was a pencil-necked, squeaky-brained, quirky, affected creepoid? Where did I do that? You stupid, whatever, beanpole, bony-armed motherfucker. You couldn't tell that was what I was saying. Yeah, I could tell that your accusation was preposterous and stupid. Like all your accusation was unfounded, reckless, slanderous, undeserved, because you have no arguments to make. So all you have to resort to silly bullshit like, you have a psychological issue. Why don't you take your Prozac? I mean, it's as lame as that. You're as lame as the average fucking bullshit troll who comes up with a great fucking line. How much meth did you smoke today? Your comments aren't any better, douche. By the way, I tried editing one comment thing, and you were an asshole about that too, so why bother? Yeah, well, exactly. Why bother is you're right on the point, because you don't make a single rational argument in any of these fucking useless prick comments. They don't have any sources. It's useless tripe. Since you are an idiot and read this out of context. Out of what context? You're the one who posted it out of context, you stupid cunt. Yeah, I'm just going to post random thoughts that I have while I watch the video. Oh, shit. I'm talking about the multiple comment issue. How would anybody even know what you were talking about? So it's always good to say what you're talking about after you wrote the comment. That's another style issue. I'm not going to give you any points for it, dumbass. See, another one. He said it doesn't work because of the flaws. He said it doesn't work because of the flaws. I find it interesting you can't get such an obvious thing. What doesn't work? He was using it as an example that explains some of the phenomenon. See, this comment is totally useless. There's no reference to what part of the video he's responding to. Just nothing. So I'm gonna have to, you have to read halfway through it before you know what the fuck he's talking about. Who are you talking about? He was using it as an example that explains some of the phenomenon, but also implies things that we know are not the case. Like there will be drag from these particles. Oh, so we're on the Feynman thing. Quite obviously he was using an analogy that is very unsophisticated for a physicist, is the point. Physicists should be able to think in terms of, well, what if it was kinetic? What if the ultramundane particles split in half and then recombined? What if they annihilated and recreated? We have lots of quantum weirdnesses. Why can't we apply some quantum weirdnesses? He didn't do any of that. He just came up with a fucking childish, mocking example that isn't any better than me saying, well, let's assume baseballs are bowling balls. Yeah, you can't play baseball anymore. I mean, it's just as dumb. Alright, he was using, okay, so anyway, so now at least we know what he was talking about. But also implies things that we know are not the case. Like there will be drag from these particles. Well, again, I've already explained it over and over again. If you want to explain the drag and the kinetic interaction where two things collide, and one goes this way and one goes this way afterwards, and how, if that doesn't take any time, that it's exactly like two things missing each other. If you want to explain to me exactly what the drag is, I'd love to hear it. Because I think that's a pile of shit. You know, obviously it just depends on what the identity of the matter is. If something comes in and I choose to say, I don't have any use for you, I'll reflect you. Okay, that means something went that way and something went this way. Exactly what was going to happen anyway. I'm just saying your argument is, like I said, it's as unthoughtful and unsophisticated as Feynman's trivial nonsense. So you don't want to take the subject seriously and actually think about what kinetics implies, and the fact that the universe would not have friction in it because friction is the big universe problem, not a little universe problem. Dumbass. Alright. That's how we get better and better theories. What is? By denying by having no imagination. Yeah. And he keeps thinking his theories are better and better. So which ones are better and better? The multiverse, is that the better and better? Or string theory? Which one's the better and better? In general, by taking interest in the parts in the parts, it gets wrong about what we see in the universe. Again, it's clear. The idea was trivially treated in the 1600s. It was trivially treated in the 1800s, and it's been trivially treated in the 1900s. So yes, the demonstration is perfect. You're a religion. Science is a religion. That means your theory is ultimately broken. So again, it doesn't matter that you explain it. You say the word kinetic, they just ignore it and pretend raindrops aren't kinetic. I know, I'm not talking about raindrops. Raindrops aren't kinetic. No, I'm not suggesting the particles are made of rain. Do you understand? They're not made of rain. Do you understand? They're kinetic. Rain isn't kinetic. Alright. That's why QM fitting all the experiments. Oh, just another one of these statements that just, it's such a religion. God loves everyone. I mean, it's just such baby talk. QM fitting all the experiments. It's just amazing trite. How do you say that? How do you write something that putridly childish? Oh, QM doesn't have any problems. It's perfect. It fits everything. Fuck you. You are insane. Experiments is a big deal, even though obviously it's missing something. Yeah, like unifying physics. Like having anything coherent from one place in the universe to another. The rules all change and turn upside down. Shit. Like an explanation of gravity. Yeah, right. Yeah, and bent space is missing something like an explanation of the quanta. But it's like there's no Goldilocks, in my little Red Riding Hood. Oh yeah, there's no Red Riding Hood in the Goldilocks story. Such a tragedy. But it's hard to make a better theory until you find where it makes bad predictions. So again, this predictions crap. These vacuous, unstated, undefined, brilliant predictions that came out of the theory. And the one that Einstein's the most famous for is the weakest of them all. Evidentiary. No evidence. Note, not making common sense to you is not a bad prediction. Well, again, these predictions, okay, first aren't predictions. First, this whole idea, your nonsensical notion that the idea of, is there some way we can get more electricity to go through a conductor? Like somehow quantum mechanics invented the idea, the pursuit of it. No, not even close. Quantum mechanics didn't invent the transistor. Experimentation did. Einstein invented the transistor technically when the photoelectric effect was basically established as a reality. That was the first transistor, retards. Anyway, the first transistor was a photoresistor. It's a totally inconsequential thing that just says the universe is not common sense to you. Well, again, so forget the fact that the theory unifies physics. Forget the fact that it simplifies it to one force and 5 rules. Forget all of that. Let's just pretend, okay, that what we have now is really coherent and sensible and can't be improved. No, no, no. My guys are right. That's all this is. Fucking idiot. Anyway, another comment. Most people don't want to hear one of my ideas. Oh dear, really? I don't even know what that's a reference to. Has that ever happened to you? Did you ever have an opinion most people didn't want to hear about? That wasn't my point, retard. How did the referendum go? What did you do about it? I don't know what he's talking about. Hypocrisy. Okay. Saying there is a problem being a minority opinion, that means you are wrong. No, that's not what I've been saying. You're saying your opinions are wrong because they're insanely stupid. When you know the same applies to you, and not thought out, and not based on evidence, and not reasoning. Maybe it's just that you don't know what hypocrisy means. Now, I know that some asshole like you can say you know something about logic or putting facts together, and you don't. That's why you resort to desperate methods and means to attempt to gain a point or two in your argument. Okay, having failed in the past doesn't change that right now my life is the best it's ever been. So again, that's how he measures, is whether you get lucky or not. So he has a lucky period, he'll consider that, well, now I'm doing the right thing. You know, when no, you'll just set up for the same failure again. And again, I mean, I want to. Well, there's no point. I mean, there's no point. There's no way of making the point to you without being kind of rude. But just because things are all right for you right now doesn't mean that your victims are all right. Trying things is prone to failure. Yeah, well, try them on yourself. Again, this idea that you can assume risk for other people. You can decide that, hey, it's worth it. I think so, and that's all that matters. I think it's worth it. And you don't even have enough judgment to say, well, look, I do notice that there's other people in the world, and that, you know, maybe the person I'm going to be fucking with is one of those kind of people, and they're not going to appreciate me fucking with them at all. They're not going to like my little practical jokes. You ever considered that? There's some people who really don't like practical jokes. Impractical jokes, really. Trying things is prone to failure. Again, that's not the subject. The subject is, do you have a right to torture something because you're a reckless fuck? An incompetent reckless fuck. A silly person who thinks they're way overqualified when you're way underqualified. We can't all be successes like you, Gary. Well, again, I'm not the one arguing that I'm a success, am I? I'm arguing that I'm not competent, you're not competent, none of us are competent to control the experiment, so none of us are competent to do it. Asshole. I was raised to overcome my personality and find ways to be productive and pay my own way with the bodies of other people. Okay, so that's paving your own way. No, it really isn't, asshole. Yeah, you have to have a dog to make you happy. You can't just do it on your own. You can't manufacture a life in and of yourself. You have to go create a victim to torment. Fucking psychopath. Let's see. Purely personal opinion from Edward. We might as well read this one because it's going. It's nonsense. Sorry, but your arguments are weak. Well, you'll demonstrate that with what? A counter argument? Oh no, we won't hear any of those. Why should we accept anything you say? I'm not asking you to accept a damn thing I'm saying. I'm asking you for, well, some of the things I'm saying are questions. What do you think the background radiation is bouncing off of? What do you think about the fact that beam splitters are diffraction gradients and they create divergences in the beam? What do you think about that? What do you think about polarization filters that don't, that aren't 50-50 because some of the things hit the bars? What do you think about those things? You think it's a good idea to think a beam splitter creates two equal beams when it doesn't? Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think two-slit math shouldn't have the width of the slits in it? You think that's an important detail or an unimportant detail? Why should we accept anything you say? So again, it's not accepting it. It's just recognizing you either have answers to the questions or you don't. So either a unification theory, in your opinion, is important, and it's a big plus for a theory if it can unify because that's logical. Because all the forces do move at the same speed. There is indication that all the forces are basically something similar about them. They're all very similar. Follow a lot of the same rules. The inverse square law. Lots of the same laws are followed. So, no, but it's not useful. No. Unification was a silly notion. It's good to have completely different fundamental theories about how different parts of the universe work. Where is your data? Theoretical physics, idiot. I'm not going to explain. The data already exists as I've cited it. I've cited experiments. I've cited Maxwell's equations. I've cited things that demonstrate things. That's my data, retard. The existing knowledge base is my data, dumbass. I don't need data beyond explaining what a diffraction gradient is. I mean, I put one in front of the camera, fuckhead. I shined a laser beam through one, fuckhead. You didn't see that data? That was data, fuckhead. Jesus Christ. I don't have the time to listen to this nonsense. Well, I barely have the time to say, fuck off. But I did it anyway. The speed of light is the same no matter which way you point the laser on Earth. Yes, the light travels a certain amount of distance in a certain amount of time, and that's it. It doesn't do any other distance in any other time. If you were right, that would be the case. Well, I don't even know what that means. The speed of light is the same no matter which way you point the laser on Earth. If you were right, that would not be the case, he says. Of course it would be. So you can keep saying stupid things, but I mean, how fast the emitter going, as stated in the Einstein statement, is irrelevant. The light doesn't go with the emitter plus the speed of light. It doesn't add. It drops the light. The photons actually are already moving the speed of light when they're in the matter, you retard. The light that comes out of this flashlight, okay, it's already light in the flashlight. It's already a photon, all ready to go. It's already moving the speed of light. You're the idiots who think it's some sort of different thing, and you're not just releasing it. So the point is, the light's released at the point you release it, and that's the distance you measure, the point you released it from. You don't measure the velocity of the thing that was carrying it. That doesn't get to add on to the velocity in any way whatsoever. The light always drops to the 0 point and then starts going. It starts from a zero universe, a zero place in the universe, no momentum. It has no momentum when it's dropped, and then it runs the speed of light from that point. I don't know how else to metaphor this. It's like the matter's carrying a little duck with little legs moving really fast. Go, 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 go. And it's carrying it. And it drops it. And when it drops it, it's an empty space, and it doesn't go the same speed I'm going. So as soon as I drop it, it's free. And it starts walking. It goes from there, from that point, from the point of emission to wherever point you're going to measure, and that will always be the speed of light. The distance from the point you emitted it to the distance you collected it or tested it is going to always be the speed of light. I don't know. I mean, you can go over it and over it and say, you're the ones who say light can collect momentums. You're the ones saying that light is like the baseball on the bus, that it has more than one speed. It's combining two speeds when it's moving somewhere, going somewhere. I'm the one saying no. When you throw it, it's going that way, and that's it. There's no other way it's going. It just goes which way it was going when you released it. Period. And it's going one speed, the speed of light. Idiot. So, done with most of it. Alright, so that's enough. No point in wasting too much time on this fucking idiot. Yeah, he's just fucking it. Yeah, Hosley they gave up, by the way, so that's good. Well, he says he did, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. His video didn't have, again, there was nothing in his video. There's no content explaining how I have somehow misunderstood, when it's they who have misunderstood their own theory. Really, under the time dilation model, if I was going, say, 3/4 the speed of light, and I shined a flashlight ahead of me, under the time dilation model, okay, I just don't see, all right? The frame rate is slowed way, 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 way down. So then the fact that this light is only increasing by 1/4 the speed of light, that is, it's only getting away from me at 1/4 the speed of light. It's only escaping locality by that speed. And it's time dilation that makes the observer think it's going much faster, because the entire universe is sped up really, really fast. So zillions of events took place that you don't see. Your perception is turned off. That's what time dilation means, you stupid fucks. You're not seeing it right. In reality, the light doesn't get away from the object at the speed of light. That's the reality. It doesn't escape at the speed of light. It's going the speed of light, but you're going 3/4 the speed of light, so it can't escape you any faster. That's the truth. That's the reality. What you see, that's just bullshit. Doesn't mean anything. That's the reality. The reality is the light doesn't escape as fast as it would if you weren't going 3/4 the speed of light in the same direction. Fuck. How can you not get that?